Look at this machine. It defies categorization. Is it a helicopter? Is it a plane? Or is it the most misunderstood aircraft in aviation history? You are looking at the V-22 Osprey. To the Marines who ride in the back, it is a battle taxi. To the pilots, it is a technological marvel. But to the public, it has a darker reputation. For years, headlines called it unsafe. They called it the Widowmaker. But here's the truth. The Osprey is the real-life transformer. It does something that should be impossible. It takes off vertically, hovering like a hummingbird, and then, in just 12 seconds, it rotates its massive engines forward and screams away at over 300 miles per hour. It is faster than any helicopter. It can land where no plane can go. And despite the controversy, the U.S. military cannot function without it. Today, we are going deep into the cockpit of the V-22 to understand how it works, why it crashed, and why it is now essential.
The idea behind the Osprey is simple, but building it was a nightmare. The concept is called Tiltrotor. Imagine trying to glue a helicopter to a turboprop airplane. You get the V-22. It has two massive Rolls-Royce engines mounted on the tips of the wings. These aren't just engines, they are entire nacelles that rotate 90 degrees. When the engines are up, it is a helicopter. The prop rotors, that is what they call them, not propellers, provide lift. But look at the size of them. They are 38 feet across. That is huge. This creates a unique problem. In helicopter mode, the exhaust from the engines burns the ground. It is so hot it can melt the asphalt on a runway or warp the deck of a ship. That is why you often see Ospreys creating massive dust clouds when they land. They are literally blasting the earth with hurricane-force heat.
But the magic happens in the air. The transition. Pilots call it pushing the thumb wheel. As the pilot rotates the nacelles forward, the lift transfers from the rotors to the wings. At 0 degrees, the rotors essentially become giant propellers. Suddenly, the drag disappears. A standard Black Hawk helicopter flies at about 150 knots. The Osprey, it cruises at 270 knots. It leaves helicopters in the dust. This speed changes everything. It means Marines can get to the fight twice as fast. It means a wounded soldier can get to a hospital in the golden hour from hundreds of miles away. In warfare, speed isn't just a luxury. It is the difference between life and death.
The V-22 isn't just a land animal, it is a sea creature. Watch this footage of it landing on the USS New York and the HMAS Canberra. Landing on a ship is terrifying. The deck is moving, the ocean is heaving, and you are trying to put down a machine that is 57 feet wide. Notice how close the rotors are to the island structure of the ship. There is very little margin for error. If a pilot drifts just a few feet, those massive carbon fiber blades will strike the ship and shatter. But the Osprey has a secret trick for storage. It folds. In roughly 90 seconds, the blades fold inward like a flower closing at night, and the entire wing rotates to align with the fuselage. It transforms from a sprawling giant into a compact brick that fits on the elevator of an aircraft carrier. It is an origami masterpiece made of aluminum and composite.
Let's talk about strength. Speed is nice, but can it carry the load? Look at this. This is called external lift operations. The Osprey is hovering, picking up massive cargo containers underneath its belly. It can carry 20,000 pounds of internal cargo, or 15,000 pounds hooked underneath. That is enough to carry a Humvee, artillery pieces, or enough supplies to keep a battalion fighting for days. Flying with a sling load is dangerous. The pilot can't see the load. He relies entirely on the crew chief in the back, looking through the hell hole, a small hatch in the floor, to guide him over the target. It requires incredible trust between the cockpit and the cabin.
But the most valuable cargo isn't ammunition. It is Marines. The primary mission of the V-22 is tactical insertion. Watch how fast this happens. The Osprey comes in fast, flaring hard to bleed off speed. The ramp drops before the wheels even touch the ground. Marines sprint out the back, weapons ready. Seconds later, the Osprey pulls power and launches back into the sky. It is violent, loud, and chaotic. For the soldiers inside, the ride is remarkably smooth in airplane mode, but the transition to hover feels like hitting a speed bump in the sky. When those nacelles rotate up, gravity takes over and your stomach drops. It is the ultimate roller coaster ride.
But it is not always about war. Sometimes the Osprey brings life instead of death. Look at these scenes from the Philippines. When a typhoon hits an island chain, runways are destroyed, airports are underwater. Traditional planes cannot land. Helicopters are too slow to bring enough food from distant bases. Enter the Osprey. It lands in mud, in soccer fields, in schoolyards. It offloads pallets of water and rice. In disaster relief, the V-22 has no equal. It bridges the gap between heavy transport and vertical access. For the people on the ground waiting for help, the distinctive sound of those rotors is the sound of salvation.
The Osprey operates everywhere. Deserts, oceans, and here, the freezing cold of Fort McCoy. Snow and ice are dangerous for any aircraft, but especially for a tiltrotor. Ice can build up on the blades, changing their aerodynamics. Notice the white landscape. When an Osprey lands in snow, it creates a whiteout. The pilot loses all visual reference. He can't see the ground, the horizon, or the trees. He has to trust his instruments and the flight computer to keep the aircraft stable while landing blind inside a man-made blizzard. It is high-stress flying at its finest. So, is the V-22 Osprey perfect? No. Its development cost lives. It was complex, expensive, and difficult to master. But aviation history is written by machines that push the envelope. The Wright brothers didn't stay on the ground because it was safe. We went to the moon despite the risk. The Osprey proved that tilt-rotor technology works. It paved the way for the future. Now the Army is building the V-280 Valor, a faster, sleeker successor to the Osprey. But the V-22 was the pioneer. It combined the grace of a plane with the utility of a helicopter, forever changing how we move through the sky. Thanks for watching this deep dive. If you enjoyed this flight, make sure to hit that like button. And tell me in the comments, would you be brave enough to ride in the back of an Osprey?
I will see you in the next one.